Late start today. Grand rising, everybody. Grand rising, everybody. See, I had to make a quick adjustment and whatnot. Yeah, so son was up late, so naturally we gonna be up late. Try to get him together with his sleep and whatnot. So, man, I'm starting to think, should I have brought an umbrella today? Hold on, let me pull over. I might have to go back. Let me see. I think I'll be alright. I just have to get suffer. Shouldn't be too bad. I think I'll be okay. Anyway, anyway, I was quick little digital journal for y'all. You know, and a key piece of Black American banner in history. You know, real quick. I am gonna go into this my thoughts on the cyber attack. I'll do that another time, because now they found out that the password, basically somebody wanted to try to hold the state for ransomware. They sent ransomware like, give me a bag. The state wouldn't do it. They'll probably just reset the state employee passwords, because that's what it was about. So they're gonna probably find the person. The FBI's looking into trying to lead charges and stuff like that. So they're gonna find the person. They're gonna nail their ass. They're gonna crucify them. Yeah. You get major time for something like that. You're not gonna be able to pull something like that, especially if they find out it's political gain. Well, then that might be considered domestic terrorism. If you say, well, you know, I'm mad at the bad guys in office and all that kind of nonsense. Yeah, you gonna get hit. You gonna get hit. If you try to pull one of them moves and you get caught, you gonna get hit. So, yeah, it's, you pull one of those and it's a wrap. But I want to tell a quick story real quick. Me and my brother, we were going to the gym the other night. I had to go to the store to get some sauce. So we sitting there in the aisle discussing what pasta sauce I should get. I mean, I know I was gonna go in there and get the Prego. But so these women overheard us. There was a lady in there with her grandma and her daughter. All right. And so I was kind of, you know, they had walked past, you know, like we walked past them before we came in, and I told my brother, I said, there you go. I said, there you go. And he's kind of looking like, tattoos, bunch of kids, you know, my brother. So, you know, they come over there, they overhear us talking, and they say, they overhear us talking, man, and they start to kind of talk with us a little bit. They start to kind of talk with us a little bit about the sauce. And so immediately, I start hearing Friedman banter. Immediately, I was like, okay. And I was talking to Grandma, where your people from? Because initially when they walked past us, they start speaking Spanish, but then we kind of heard them. We walking past, and they start sounding like us. And I said, maybe they get no Spanish or whatever the case. But that shit was like, that nigga big. I mean, that shit was like. So when we start talking about the pasta, and I said, excuse me, man, where your people from? She said, well, I'm Cuban. And I said, I hear some black. I hear a black American. I hear a Southern accent. I said, I hear a Southern accent. I hear a strong. They started laughing. I said, I hear strong. I hear Big Mama. I hear Big Mama or something. I hear it a little bit. It's just on the tad. It's just on the tad. So she said, look, I'm from Cuba. I'm Cuban. And then one of the grandchildren, because it was either her daughter, the one that had several kids, and then her the other lady had a daughter. So the one that was, you know, she was on a little buggy thing. I think she was pregnant with her. She like, I'm a descendant. I said, okay. So they kind of go into it. We didn't go deep as what I wanted to get into it even more because it was interesting. So she says, well, I'm sorry, man. So the grandma's saying, I'm Cuban. And I'm like, okay, but I hear Big Mama house. So how's that? You know what I'm saying? She said, oh no, I'm Cuban. I said, you sure you ain't a Freeman? She said, I'm Cuban. And she said, but I grew up in California for over 50 years. I said, okay. I said, so now, a lot of black folks from the migration went from Louisiana to California. She said, yeah. I said, okay, well, do you have any family that's, I said, do you have any family that's Choctaw? She cut me off. She said, Blackfoot. I said, okay. So she mentioned something about Oklahoma. I think maybe growing up in Oklahoma, but I said, all right, so you got some people, she said she's Cuban. And I heard the Spanish accent, but she got some people. So she grew up, she must have grew up among us. So she must have had some family. Because when she said Blackfoot, and I said, yeah, I heard somebody. I said, somebody was through that trail of tears. And she started laughing. I said, yeah, somebody was through that trail of tears. Somebody went. Because when you mentioned Oklahoma, because she's from California, she said she grew up in California, or she spent 50 years in California. And she has all the mannerisms of Big Mama. Yeah, you grew up around some Freemen. Your people with some Freemen. 9 times out of 10. So maybe she was born in Cuba or something, and maybe somehow some family, but you got some family. You got some family that was, because she said Blackfoot specifically. She didn't say Sammy Sosa. She said Blackfoot. So I said, all right, it must have been some people around, some of your relatives or something that might have been kin to some of those tribes, or might have been around it, because she said Oklahoma. So I said that really keyed me in when she said Oklahoma. I said, all right, Oklahoma. Because, you know, Oklahoma and California, it's, you know, Oklahoma is closer to California than we are. You know what I'm saying? So, but I can't remember which ones were also, they might have all spoke a little bit of Spanish, but, you know, I kind of wanted to indulge a little more, but I didn't want to be rude. You know what I'm saying? And they were okay, but I could just tell. And she, you know, she made she said a lot of people, they keep saying, she said her daughter was kind of laughing when she said, well, a lot of people keep saying that I sound country. I said, well, now it all makes sense. So, you know, this is something that we do when we meet other black folks, especially elder people. Sometimes we'll just ask them, where's their people from? And elder folks, they'll let you know right off top. They don't get ashamed. They don't get ashamed. They tell you immediately. They tell you where their folks are from, and they'll give you a nice little history book so you could kind of walk away with a little bit of historical game. That's something that our elders would do. If it's somebody over the age of, you know, and usually either 40, 50, I mean, they'll tell you. When black Americans see each other, when we start asking, when we hear certain accents, we start asking questions. Hey, where's your people from? That's something we've been doing. I've been doing that for forever. I remember one time I'm on the bus and I was talking to some girl from Nebraska, or I was talking to somebody, and I said, I was talking about something that was going on, and I said, yeah, this person tried to call themselves. And she said, hold on, wait a minute. Where's your people from? We do that. When we hear something, we do that. When we hear a saying or something, because we know that if we would have heard someone say something, or the way they said it, we know that, you know, and that's just part of our vernacular. That's freedman culture. That's black America. That's foundational culture. We always do that. We constantly do that. That's constant. So people constantly are asking each other where they're people from based on something they've heard. And we don't have no problem letting each other elaborating about it in detail. And that's how you know, like, when we hear folks now on this damn internet and they be overly, but you ask them that one question, because you'll hear some of the vernacular, you'll hear like a little fake New Yorker, or they'll have a fake Southern accent and it be extra, and you could ask them, where are your people from? Oh, and they don't start naming stuff in the deep American South. They don't name Oklahoma, they don't name none of these places, and you kind of looking at them like, all right, yeah, they might be capping and cosplaying, you know, so they might, you know, so, and you could tell folks that hung around us too, because it ain't all extra. But lately I've been seeing over the past couple of years when people be on these little apps and TikTok and stuff like that, you'll even hear some people that'll be chastising black folk, and they be like, well, damn, you got our whole vernacular, our wordplay, all that down, but it sounds like you overusing it and enforcing it. If you were to ask those folks where are they from, they probably gonna be somebody from somewhere foreign. Because we don't gotta overdo it. But I just heard that, because I heard that Spanish, and I'm kind of like, and I was like, man, they don't look Dominican. They could be, but the lady, she looked kind of different. Like they were black, but she got that little, you know, that I don't know. I gotta look like, you know, I just thought of a little bit of salsa and empanada. I heard a little salsa going on, so I'm trying to figure out. And so, like, when they came up to us and they start talking regular again, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm looking at them, and I'm like, they do look a little different. Black Cubans. And most black Cubans I meet, most of the time, they pretty cool. But when I started asking them questions, when I gave them that paperwork check, it passed. A+, because they got the name and stuff. You can't act like you're something else without a name. When they start talking about Oklahoma and Blackfoots and all this shit, because I said Choctaw, I didn't say Blackfoot. I said, you got some folks, you got some Choctaw people, because I was thinking maybe Mississippi. She said Blackfoot. Then she said Oklahoma. I said, yeah, you may be Cuban. Your people are freedmen. Some of your folks had to be, or you grew up around it, you had to be. It's impossible for her to name those kind of things. And it's just a friendly banter. We were having fun. We were starting talking about history and stuff like that. That's something that happens. Black folks we don't get offended when we ask each other. So if someone gets offended, you know something's wrong. You know they're ashamed or something's wrong. Because that's something we naturally do. And that's what I was trying to show, like when they were talking about when they had the little Juneteenth thing at work, and they start calling, they were blatantly leaving out all kinds of parts. I reached out to the black folks involved, like, hey, what's up with some of this history that y'all gets cast out? And I ain't get no response. I said, yeah, they ain't from our lineage, they ain't from our culture, because they should at least hit me back. Like, yeah, man, I'm glad you standing on low key. Even if I was a coward, I'd be like, man, low key, man, I respect you trying to ask questions and making sure stuff is in the right context, so people don't get, as they say, well, misinformation. I'm trying to kill the misinformation. I'm like, all right, look, that's okay. I'm trying to kill the information. I'm like, all right, let's make this in the proper context. We've been celebrating Juneteenth well before Joe Biden, before y'all compromised the shit and gave everybody a free fucking day. We've been doing that shit. We've been doing this shit for about 100 something years. It's an American day. It's a Black American day. Even some of the flags, you got some folks, like I say, I was talking before, with the red, black, green. That's not our shit. That's the Pan-African. That's not. It's not the Juneteenth Texas flag. It's not. You know, and a lot of people, they just roll with it or whatever, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Any more than if you go to an LGBT event and you put up a Caribbean flag, they be like, oh, what the fuck is this? Hold on. You ain't a buck breaking Negro? You trying to promote some nuclear families? Oh, take that down. This is lettuce, bacon, and tomato. This is our shit. You know, that's their culture. So somebody's gonna gatekeep. Somebody gonna say no. You know, you couldn't go to Cinco de Mayo. You couldn't go to Cinco de Mayo and plaster Puerto Rican flags all the way. Somebody go, oh, wait a minute, nigga. What's this about? Hold on. What are you trying to do here? You trying to colonize our day? They gonna check you harsh. Every culture is going to do that, as they should. They're gonna do that. They're gonna make sure. So, you know, I just knew I was giving y'all a little update. I knew that when I ain't get no response, and I seen the people in the video. I mean, I seen some kind of foul stuff. I seen some stuff that was kind of janky, you know, that I was gonna tell y'all later, but you know, they never did respond. And I asked for a copy of that Zoom, and you know, cause I want to critique it even more, because I heard something at the very beginning that I didn't like. And they say, speak out, be bold. Okay, let's do that. But I knew that the people that I knew that the tokens in charge, the fact that they didn't respond. And I showed the email to some other black folks there, like, hey man, what y'all think about this, man? He's like, man, that's right, man. That's our heritage, like, you know. I mean, they might have took it, but you know. But no, that was very, very interesting, man. That dynamic, you know. And I was telling my brother, I said, there you go. I'm messing with him. I'm like, man, you know, a nice little, you know. He's like, man, tattoos and a bunch of kids. He said, no. I said, I was messing with it. He said they got them, but you know they was, but like this is what I told him. I said, you know, they Cuban. You know they gonna cook. You know what I'm saying? They you know, so, but yeah, grandma look, she looked Cuban. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of what I think she kind of looked like. She looked Cuban. You know, but I probably should have asked him, you know, like, you know, how long did you come to the state, or, you know, like, and stuff like that. But she didn't have that Cuban accent. She spoke it fluently, but she didn't have the accent. She had grandma accent. She had, you know, she reminded me of Esther Rose off Rosewood. She looked like, yeah, she looked like, I raised all of you since you was something. I raised, you know, before they shot, not Florida, but Esther Rose, man. Esther Rose was a shit. Before they shot Esther Rose and, what's dude to play Miles? Damn, I can't forget about him. Real good actor. The brother that played in Iron Man, and he was Miles Davis, and damn, I can't remember his name at all, man. Phenomenal actor. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I just can't think of it for that. But his mother played Big Mama in the movie Rosewood. That's one of the best movies, the best Black American movies that was ever made, man. It was a long one, but it was. I mean, Rosewood. I couldn't wait. I told y'all the story in my book. I could not wait. I ain't give a damn about Players Club. The hell with Players Club. Not Players Club, but the boot. What's the one with Jamie Foxx in it? It came out around the same time. It wasn't Players Club. It was Booty Call. I ain't give a damn about seeing Booty Call. I said, man, let me see Rosewood. You got to think I was a child at this time. This is 97, man. I'm looking at Rosewood like, man, I got to see that. Ving Rhames come out there with them two. He come out there with them 245s off the Army. I said, I got to see that. Black man hop out the horse. He's like, yeah. I said, I got to see that. I got to see that. I didn't want to see Booty Call. Actually, to keep it real with y'all, I've never seen Booty Call. Never. I've never seen Booty Call. I've seen Rosewood. And they were hiding it in Blockbuster. I'm telling you, they were hiding the movie. That was a new release movie, and they were hiding that shit. It was behind the little Blockbuster. You know, like when the empty Blockbuster where it says Blockbuster Video, they were hiding that movie. That's a new release movie. Why would you put it behind? They were hiding it. Now, somebody else, granted, could have hit it where people didn't think they was, you know, gonna get it or whatever the case may be. You know, sometimes I'd come in there and I'd move stuff. If there was a movie that I wanted to get later, you know what I'm saying? I might move it somewhere where I could. But nah, man, they was hiding that movie, man. And y'all got to keep in mind that was tape back then. DVD was just starting to kind of come around or whatnot. But man, I'm telling you, what bus is that? But yeah, man, we talked for a little bit, but you know, like I start, because as soon as I start going and asking a few of them questions, and they're like, yeah, well, this, that, and third, or whatever, like that. I was talking to the grandma because I'm trying to get that history. And I was trying to be respectful, but I didn't really talk to the youngest one. She said descendants. We descendants. So I think those were her grandkids. Cause I'm like, okay, the one that said descendants, she must have been the younger sister. I should have asked him some more questions. You know, that's why I was kind of telling my brother. I said, you know, she kind of checking us out a little bit, you know, to see what's going on with that one. You know, because, you know, like at the grocery store, man, be having some nice looking sisters, man. I ain't gonna lie. The grocery store be having, especially the one kind of around this way, you know. And I told my brother that. I said, well, you know, if you can say around in the area or whatever, man, it's like a little club up in here, you know. And they buying stuff, and you know, and now Trump cutting back the SNAP, motherfuckers going to cook. Ain't gonna be no more snacks and candy and stuff, so they going to cook. They going to start making healthy meals for their kids, man. Anybody got the SNAP. But nah, they was buying stuff. I don't think they had that SNAP. But I've been seeing black folks trying to get it together, man. I ain't gonna lie. I've been seeing black folks trying to get it together around here. But you know, these women up in here now, I've been seeing a lot of sisters out here in the gym, and you know, folks trying to get themselves, get their lives, man. They trying to get their life. They trying to get their life, you know, and nah, that's it though, y'all. I'm gonna try to post a picture of what she looks like. I'm gonna post that. I think I'm gonna post it at the end. I'm gonna post it at the beginning, and I'm gonna post it at the end. You know, I don't know when this bus supposed to come soon, so I'll see y'all in a minute. Y'all take care.
I just wanna dance with you all